Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to the Ameer book series with me, Osama Musa at Muslim Ameer. So what is this series about? Well, I'm going to, inshallah, for the year 2022, my aim and my goal is to read a book a week. I want to expand on my knowledge and I want to help benefit and serve the ummah. So for this year, I'm going to read a book a week, and the aim of this series is that I'm going to, inshallah ta'ala, review and summarize the books and give you an explanation about them or a review regarding which books I've read and how much I recommend them. And inshallah, you can find benefit and value in these videos so that you could go and see which books you want to read. And inshallah, if you're not somebody who likes to read and you just want a quick summary of a book, then inshallah you can utilize this series for that. So the way that the series will work is I will inshallah provide you with the book name and the author. And then the way that I'm going to review it is obviously I'll give a review out of 10, and then I'm going to discuss the writing style. I'm going to explain if it's easy to read or not. I'm going to rate it out of 10 for enjoyability, if it's beneficial, and how much I recommend it out of 10. And then I'm going to give you some notes and takeaways from the book that I feel kind of summarize the book in a nutshell. So without further ado, let's inshallah dive into the first book of the first week in 2022 for the Ameer book series. Okay, so the book for this week was The £1 Million LinkedIn Message by Daniel Disney. This book, as you can see, is not very big. It's about 200 pages long, and 50 of those pages are actually just the bibliography or the preface, or just some added stuff at the end. So the actual book's about 150 pages long of the content that you actually need to consume. Now, a little bit about the author himself. He is a sales expert known for his social selling techniques and experience, but also obviously, as he explains in the book, which I'll go into in a bit more detail, he's obviously not just a social media salesman or a social seller, if you like, but he is one of the most influential sales experts on social media, especially on LinkedIn. And the purpose of this book, as you can tell from the title, is how to utilize this platform for your sales experience. So let's dive into the review. I've scored the book 9 out of 10. Now, for me, the reason for this is because I feel that the book is really good, and I would give it 10 out of 10, but I don't want to. It's the first book I've read this year that I'm going to review, and I feel like the 9 out of 10 is a very good score to give the book, just because in terms of the enjoyability, I've scored that a little bit lower than 9 out of 10, and I'm going to discuss that in a moment. So my overall review is 10 out of 10. Now, in terms of the writing style, it's nice, it's simple, it's engaging. He doesn't bombard you with too much information that you can't consume. It's very, very easy to understand. And I really like his writing style. You feel like he's talking to you directly and you don't feel like you're reading it. I actually managed to read this book within a couple of hours, the whole book. Like I said, it's only 150 pages in actual content that you need to consume. So I found it really pretty easy to read. Some books can really take a long time to read, and if you find them difficult to read and you don't really like the author's writing style, they could really bore you out. So with this book, I read it within, like I said, literally within one day I'd finished the book, which is quite rare as well to be able to do that. And it's also a compliment to Daniel for his writing style, because it was such an easy book to read that it was doable to do it in that time frame. Like I said, it is easy to read. So that's a yes to that column in my rating. In terms of enjoyability, out of 10, I've given it a 7.5. Just because this is a business book, right? It's a sales book. Are you going to enjoy a lot of the business sales books or marketing books that you read, or personal development books? Not necessarily. How useful are they for your knowledge in this industry or this particular field is essentially what you're reading it for. So in terms of enjoyability, I've given it 7.5 out of 10 because it was enjoyable, but it's not something that I'm going to pick up and read over and over and over and over again because I enjoyed reading it. I'm going to pick it up over and over and over again because of the benefits within the book, yes. But yeah, I mean, enjoyability, you probably get these in novels and stuff like that where it will be a lot higher. For a business book, it is very enjoyable though. So it's a 7.5 out of 10 for that. In terms of how beneficial it is, I've given it a straight 10 out of 10. If you're somebody who is interested in sales or you have a business, I highly recommend this book for you because the benefits in there are truly amazing, especially if you have no sales background. I come from sales background and I still found the benefit in there to be 10 out of 10, especially how to utilize social selling with other sales techniques and the tools out there. And just to reiterate that Daniel doesn't only specify to go about social selling, he does also tell you to combine the other tools. There's been a misconception on LinkedIn between cold calling and social selling. He doesn't diminish cold calling, he doesn't diminish using the phone, he just helps you understand that how to use social selling to its most effective way. How much do I recommend this book? It's a 10 out of 10 for me. Definitely go and read it, definitely check it out. Some notes from me. The book was very informative. It gave loads of examples and templates. It's very engaging, easy to read and easy to understand. It's very focused on social selling and combo selling. So how to combine the different fields, different tools, that you have to make a sale. It's not just sending a message on LinkedIn and waiting for a response. He's combined other things that you need to do to get over the line with the sales and within the sales process. Now, some takeaways from the book for you guys that I found were beneficial. And again, because I come from a sales background, maybe there's a few more takeaways in there that I could have provided you guys with that maybe because I felt that I didn't need them. Maybe that is a shortcoming from my end. And as I continue to do these reviews, I might get better in this department, and there's always room for improvement. But one of the takeaways was that you need to use softer language in your messaging and in your the way that you talk to your prospects. Don't be too pushy or aggressive or salesy. And that's like using words like you may be interested in this, or rather than saying this is for you and this is going to do this is this. So you want to use softer language. You don't want to come across too aggressive as a salesman. Connecting on LinkedIn is better than sending an in-mail. So always try and connect with your prospects. Always try and send them a little note with the connection if you can. But sometimes, as he says in the book, this could have more harm than good. So unless you're going to write a nice note that's personalized and that the person receiving it would appreciate, then maybe try to avoid that. But definitely connect with your prospects before sending them a message. Don't spam or copy and paste messages. So you want to make it as personalized as possible. You want to be able to show that you're a human being, that you're not just sending 100 messages to 100 people saying the same exact thing. You want to prospect accordingly. You don't want to just shoot anybody a message. You want to make sure that person that you're sending a message to, you've done your prospecting on and they fit the bill for what you sell, right? Because you don't want to waste your time and you don't want to waste their time, and you don't want to piss anyone off or upset anyone. So you want to just be aware of that. Don't just use one sales tool. As he says, fish in many ponds. So use cold calling, use social selling, use direct mail, which is posting letters. Use your different avenues. Don't be just tied into one way of selling. And even if you send a message on LinkedIn, you haven't received a response, then find the person's details and try and get them to try and call them, try and send them an email. There's different touch points that you can use. That's definitely a very good one to use. Utilize different messaging techniques. Now, in the book, he gives you 25 plus templates. So there's 25 templates in there plus his template that he utilized with his, or the way that he got the £1 million sale through a LinkedIn message. So much value in there in terms of like the different templates you can use. I personally like 2 or 3 of his templates that he used, which I was already using, but with the information that he's provided in here, I'm now just going to tweak them a little bit, especially with using softer language. And finally, your messaging should be short, sweet, and to the point. You don't want this to be a long email. The point of this messaging on LinkedIn is to just get that conversation started, and then from there you can get the email address where you can send them that long email with maybe a bit more information. You don't want to send something too long for them on LinkedIn, because it is still a social media platform. So I mean, for you guys that are utilizing LinkedIn, you are probably aware of this. You've probably received dozens of sales messages yourselves, and you've seen how you react to them. So the ones that come across really long and loads of information in there, they're not good. Also, one final thing that I've just remembered, which I didn't add to my notes, is when you're sending your sales messages, or you're trying to reach out, doing your outreach, don't in your message, don't put in like call me on my calendar or book a meeting with me on my calendar or something like that. He's highlighted that doing that makes you look like or feel like or come across to the prospect that your time is more valuable than theirs. Now, this is something that I know a lot of people do. They send you a direct outreach, and they state in there that, if you're interested in my services, here are my services, here's whatever we do. And then at the end, they attach their direct calendar for you to book a call. So he suggested not to do that. He advised us not to do that. So if you're somebody that's doing that and you've just watched this video, then according to Daniel, don't do that. But you could put in the message, hey, if you want to discuss something, then let me know and I'll shoot you over my calendar. So that's been the review for our first video, for our first book of the year. So this is our first video for our first book of 2022. Inshallah, you have found this video beneficial. Obviously, the more I do this, the better I'm going to get at it. And inshallah, if there's any books that you want me to read, just drop them in the comments below. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I've been Osama Musa at Muslim Ameer, and I'm so happy you've tuned into the Ameer book series with me today. Jazakumullah khair. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.